The biggest free agent story of today is, of course, LeBron James. This is our daily segment we like to call Watch the Throne. Bring it up there, baby. And Ramona, so glad you are here because today you published a story about LeBron's recruitment process. Tell us a little bit more about what you wrote.
Yeah, look, that billboard is nice, and all the other billboards that you're going to see go up around the country over the next couple of weeks are nice. But this time around, as LeBron James considers free agency, and by the way, he still has to decide if he's going to opt in or out of that contract on Friday, he doesn't need all of that. Like, I think that's one of the things. He's been in the league for 15 years and knows the landscape, knows the teams, knows the players, knows the owners involved. He may make a call if he needs to, but he's not going to need big presentations. There's not going to be VR goggles, right? You don't need a PowerPoint. You certainly don't need a script with Morgan Freeman reading.
just for example,
easy news.
Denzel,
you don't need all that.
We might get to that later. Continue.
And I think this time around, like, it was interesting to me when I first learned of this that he may not take any meetings. Like, there may not be any. He might have a call. He might do one or two meetings with a person, not a whole delegation, which is such a departure from where he was in 2010. I mean, as you remember covering that, it was like, oh, now the Knicks have arrived. Here comes Donnie Wall, right? I mean, it was like, think about the growth that this man has had over the course of his career, and also the growth in his decision-making process, to the point where he's going to tell whatever team he decides to play for next year what he wants, how he wants it, and what they need to do. They don't pitch him, he pitches them.
Yeah, he doesn't need the pomp and circumstance anymore. I mean, it's pretty fair way to describe it. I mean, in 2014, he talked about, I mean, you talk about how Pat Riley came to Vegas, I think. He met with Dan Gilbert in Miami. It was very low-key. No one even knew when those things were happening. We only found out that Riley was even in Vegas was because he was at the blackjack table and someone figured, oh, this is what's happening. Yeah.
Right, and he was already playing for the Heat.
Right.
So it's not like that was a shock right away that he was meeting with Pat Riley.
Right.
So you're right, there wasn't any of this stuff, and it is interesting. He obviously knows all of the players. He knows what situations he may or may not be walking into. Yeah. But I would have to think if he is going to change teams, and frankly, even if he doesn't, he would want to meet with ownership or at least the president or GM or have at least a teleconference call to sort of have the face-to-face of saying, hey, this is what I expect. These are some things that are important to me. Obviously, Rich Paul, his agent, is going to take care of most of that nitty-gritty type stuff. But I would think that especially if he's walking into a new situation, he's learned that ownership has such a big impact on what he is or isn't able to do on the court, or who might be playing next to him, Ramona.
I mean, we talked about this the last time we were on the show, and look, LeBron's he's a billionaire. He doesn't deal with people below him, right?
Almost a billionaire.
Almost a billionaire.
He'll get there.
He'll get there. Okay, like he deals with people at that level. He doesn't meet with people down the food chain, right? Remember when we were all like, oh, if he goes and Dan Gilbert can get the job, David Griffin can get the job in Philly, and he can, that would influence. That doesn't matter. LeBron deals with the owner, and that's all that matters, right? Like, if he has to feel comfortable with a franchise that they're going to be, one, able to pay a luxury tax to have a competitive team that can go to the finals every single year, and two, that he can work with that person. That's all he needs.
The funny thing about that was, and Brian Windhorst said it on this show, like when the Knicks hired David Fizdale, it was like, oh, well, LeBron, meet with the Knicks. And it's like, Brian was like, look, slow down. The coach is not going to really matter there. As much as he loves David, and we love David, that's not going to factor into this equation.
Right, and he and Ty are really close also. I don't think that's going to keep him in Cleveland necessarily, but you're absolutely right.